Welcome to the second episode of TwinTalk, where we discuss relevant gaming news and other things related to gamer and geek culture.
Today's topic is Nintendo's future.
And we're going to be discussing kind of how Nintendo wants to do some merging between some of its development departments, and we're also going to be speculating on a rumor of a brand new Nintendo console.
Now, recently, Nintendo had a Q&A session with its investors, and it's discussing a possible an actual merger between its handheld development teams and its home console development teams.
Okay, now why is this important? What's the big deal about this whole thing?
Now, this is a big deal because Nintendo believes the problem with the Wii U is a lackluster lineup for its launch. Now, this lineup,
I think even the gamers agree with that.
God, they haven't convinced me to buy a Wii U. I love the Pikmin franchise, and they got Pikmin 3, but that's not enough for me to buy it. And of course, they have to make sure they're making money, so they're releasing Smash Brothers on the 3DS, which means I'm not sure if I care about getting it on the Wii U.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right now, the big deal is they had a really nice quote in there where they were talking about merging their handheld development teams with their home console development teams. Now, they believe they can remedy the problem of a lack of launch titles with this merger for future consoles. Not necessarily the Wii U. The Wii U's, it's here.
So why do they want to merge those two groups? Why do they want to merge them?
Now, they want to merge these two groups because they would connect the architecture together. Right now, the two consoles, the handheld, like the 3DS and the Wii U, were developed separately by two different teams. Now, they were both developed from the ground up by their own team, so each team doesn't know the other console, basically. Yeah. So when they want more launch titles on the Wii U, they can't just say, well, look at this 3DS project we have over here. Well, let's move it to Wii U. It's not that simple.
Yeah, and basically, with these different architectures, when they built the 3DS architecture, they built it around the 3DS, okay? And my guess is they didn't really think about the Wii U development at all.
No, they didn't think about connecting it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of the things that I was toting for. I thought that was going to be a massive thing. You're going to be using 3DS as your controller for this thing and all this stuff.
We had that for original E3 predictions.
Yeah, we had our E3 predictions last year.
We said, look, it's going to be doing all this great things. No.
Yeah, Super Smash Brothers, you're going to be using your 3DS as the controller. All this stuff. Anyway, so basically, because the architecture is so different for the 3DS and so different for the Wii U, trying to get projects to work together are just horrible.
Yes, it doesn't work. And Nintendo made some pretty big quotes that a lot of people are kind of taken out of context. They want to be more like iOS and Android. Okay? Yep. Now, they want these to be more similar because iOS, they pump out new devices every year.
Yeah, what else is
less than a year?
Which iPod you got now, guys? Which iPhone?
No. Anyways, the same thing with Android. They have many different shapes and sizes of Android devices.
God knows how many Android devices.
NVIDIA Shield. I mean, that's not even a tablet. It's an Android device. Now, Nintendo, they see this, and Apple and iOS. Well, no, iOS and Android's operating systems. The games work. And the apps work from device to device to device. It doesn't matter what it is. Nintendo wants to be more like that.
Yeah, so basically, they want to be able to fluidly move on to the next structure as they go. So architecture is going to work much better, okay? If they can get this to work, number one, they actually said this, where for future launches of consoles, it should be a much smoother integration where they'll have the Wii U will work much better with the next console. So essentially, we shouldn't have such a drought of titles when the next console comes out.
Yes, I do also want to say this. Along with this unified architecture, they said that future consoles will be fully absorbing the Wii U's architecture. So that would probably mean full backward compatibility and compatibility with the Wii U. And that's important.
Exactly, and that's one of the things Nintendo is absolutely famous for is backward compatibility. There was a small gap between the 64 and the GameCube due to the disc change. Okay, the GameCube and the Wii work fantastic together. I mean, you pop your disc in, bam, backward compatible. You put your GameCube controllers in, you can use it to control Wii games. And basically, what this was is that the architecture for I keep doing like an arc. The architecture for the GameCube and the Wii are essentially the same. The devices are pretty close.
Nintendo actually admit this, saying that the GameCube and the Wii was the smoothest of transitions between consoles because they basically the Wii had a basically boosted similar graphics card and processor. They said it made it extremely smooth, and everyone knew the Wii was just another GameCube
Yeah,
with some fancy controls.
pretty much. I mean, if anybody's looked at a GameCube versus a Wii, you'll notice the graphics are pretty similar. It's a souped-up GameCube. Also, if you think about this, the DS and the 3DS, you pop your game right in the back of that 3DS, bam, your DS is working, no problem. All your DS games work with it. So basically, Nintendo it wants to merge its architecture, bring its its Wii U titles to the next console. Now, this leads me to some rumor news. Okay, so basically, what we know
They
is
recently
Nintendo.
purchased.
Yeah, Nintendo recently purchased a website called NintendoFusion.com. Now, some of you out there were like, Nintendo Fusion? That's just that rock concert they were doing back in 2003. That ended in 2006. Now, it very well could be. If this rumor just blows out of the water, I mean, it very well could be another Nintendo Fusion tour rock concert thing. Okay, but now NintendoNews.com received an anonymous tip, from somebody anonymous, I guess, about a new rumored...
They said it was a reliable
Yeah,
source, and they
said
would not report it unless it was reliable.
Exactly. They said it was a very reliable source. I'm going to link the link down in the description. Okay, so you guys can click it. You can check it out. Supposedly, it's a very reliable source for them.
And do come back, comment, and tell us what you think.
Yes, we want to know that. So basically, they kind of released some information of what, I don't know if it's leaked information about the next Nintendo console. And this is interesting because it's a two-parter, and I'm not talking about a series. I'm talking about a two-part console. Okay, so essentially, there's going to be two different parts, okay? It's going to be what's known as the Fusion DS and the Fusion Terminal. This is weird. Okay, so basically, the Fusion DS is going to have some really interesting ideas. It's going to be more of a standardized controller. Okay, and so it's going to be like a DS. I'm looking. It says it's going to have a slide-out design with a custom swivel tilt hinge. I'll have to see that. But it is going to have two thumbsticks. Thank God. Everybody's been wanting two thumbsticks on the 3DS. I love my 3DS. Two thumbsticks would have been fantastic. Oh,
yeah,
God.
so this console is sounding like the 3DS that everybody wanted.
Essentially, yes. Supposedly, there's going to be some haptic feedback going on in these triggers.
In the sticks?
The sticks.
In the sticks.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Xbox One's got haptic feedback in the triggers. They're going to have it in the sticks. I don't know. Maybe it'll be cool. It's going to be a handheld, so it's going to be the mobile device of this Fusion console, Nintendo Fusion.
It also supports the 1 and 2 buttons.
Yeah, it has a
That's
one.
normally
It's going to
only
have
on a
1 and
Wiimote.
2 buttons, which exactly.
And,
they're on the
Wii U
Wiimote and the Wii U. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting. Okay, it is going to be able to play your 3DS games. It's going to have a 3DS port slot. And then here's where we get into the other half of this console. It's the two-part. So this is the
Fusion
Wii U
Terminal.
I'm sorry. Oh, that came out. Yeah, that came out wrong. The Fusion Terminal. Okay, so this is essentially the console part. It's going to have a disc tray. Or it might be an optical drive. I don't know.
Optical drive.
Yeah, whatever it is. Anyway, it's going to have. It's going to be able to play Wii U discs. It's going to be able to play Fusion discs. It says.
And it has a 3DS card slot.
Built into
the terminal.
Into the terminal. This is weird. Now, it says that it can support up to 4 Wii U tablet controllers
Gamepads.
at the same time. Okay, this is very interesting, especially if the 3DS port is on the Fusion terminal, so the console part that connects your TV, essentially. I mean, are you going to be able to play your 3DS games on your Wii U pad? And on the TV screen?
See, I'm wondering now.
I don't know.
Yeah, with the terminal, if it's compatible with the Wii U gamepad, and if you don't have maybe a Fusion DS, you could potentially play 3DS games with the Wii U gamepad and your TV.
Yeah. Now this is very interesting. But just so you guys know, Nintendo's not about to drop the ball and just throw the Wii U out the door. Okay.
Yeah.
They're not
Don't worry,
making any money
people.
on it.
Your Wii U will still have games soon. They're
For
not going to
those
drop
of you
them.
who own one. I don't. But essentially, Nintendo has a very interesting schedule of console releases. Now, they're not the same as the Microsoft and the Sony consoles, okay? Basically, Nintendo releases on, for the most part, a 5-year schedule, okay?
Yeah.
It's a 5-year schedule. I'm gonna put up a little chart here, okay? So you guys can check this out. Okay, so I found this on IGN. Okay, I found this on IGN. It's a very interesting. Yeah, it's a very interesting chart. It shows the distance between each console release. The home consoles
Down to the day.
Down to the days. Okay. Now this is a bit of an old chart. It doesn't have the Wii U on there, as you can see at the bottom. So basically,
but we know when the Wii U was.
Yeah, we do know when the Wii U was
6 years after the Wii. No.
Yeah, it was 6 years after the Wii. Okay, so basically, you see the NES is one of the few exceptions. Okay. Now, if you look closely, you'll see basically 5 years between all the consoles, except the NES and the Wii. Okay. The Wii U was released in 2006, and this is where it gets interesting. I'm sorry, 2012.
Wii, yeah.
2012. Okay, which was 6 years after the Wii. Now, here's the thing: the NES made a fortune. It made, I think it was something like $64 million. I gotta check my facts on that. Okay, and then the Wii made $100 million. Okay, now both between the NES and the Super NES, there is roughly a 6-year gap. It's 5 years and 10 months, and the Wii is 6 years. Okay, now. So basically, the consoles that were making the most money, they gave it a little bit extra time before they released the next one. Yeah. Now, the Wii U is not making any money. Although this Wii Fusion, or whatever it is, Nintendo Fusion next console, okay, it has such high specs and really interesting things. I can see it waiting about 6 years. Okay, that's going to be interesting because our Xbox Ones and our PS4s are only supposed to they're supposed to last about 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
Okay, so it's very realistic. It's 2014 now. It came out in 2012, the Wii U. So we're looking at what, 4 years? Four-ish years before we see the next Nintendo console. So this thing could be real. The rumors, it was an anonymous tip. This thing could be realistic, essentially.
Yeah, and of course we're gonna get more news about this as the years progress and we get closer to that 4-year launch.
Exactly, and I have a very interesting quote. This is from the Q&A that they did.
Q&A with the
about
investors.
the merging their teams. Okay, which interestingly goes along with this whole fusion, but that's not the only thing. Okay, so they're merging their architectures so things will be able to work better together.
Yeah.
So this new Fusion DS and this new Fusion system, are going to be terminal are going to be working with the same architecture. Thus, we should see a lot of working together. Okay, so here's the interesting quote from that. Okay, it says, whether we will ultimately need just one device will be determined by what consumers demand in the future. And that is not something that we know at the moment. But they're planning on it. And with this development schedule of how they do it every 5 years, 5 to 6-ish years, this thing is very possibly happening.
Yeah.
All right, so if you like this video, do us a favor, subscribe. Whoop, whoop. Okay, we're going to have a lot more content coming out.
We're trying to pump these out weekly.
Yeah, this show is TwinTalk, okay? So we're hoping to be putting these out basically once every single week, okay? So hopefully this will be our weekly show. We're also going to be doing a bi-monthly show of Twin versus Twin, where we beat the junk out of each other playing our games. I also have a review for Rise Up right now.
Hoping to do more reviews soon.
Yes, we're hoping to do some more reviews. Honestly, we're kind of in a game shortage for now. Titanfall is probably the next big title that I'll be reviewing. Assuming that it was delayed. I don't know
for the 360.
Oh, just delayed for the 360.
Just for 15 days, little 2-week gap. Yeah,
not too bad. Also, you can follow us on Twitter @GamingTwins.